Welcome back to Mae Sot, Thailand. It is Friday, May 7th, and it's a bit of an unusual time in that it's 6:30 in the morning and I'm out here on the streets relatively early for me. There's no specific reason for me to be out this early. The odd thing is that I'm always awake early. I mean, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different. And my thinking is that normally this is the best time of the day for me. I'm a morning person. I fall apart at night. I have no energy. Once the sun starts to go down, my brain stops working. But the first 2 or 3 hours of the day, when I first wake up, whether that's at 5 or 6, 7, 8, whenever I wake up, those are the best hours of the day for me. That's when I'm the most wide awake and I have a million thoughts on my mind, have all kinds of ideas. And that's usually when I'm writing in my journal, or I'm writing an email to a friend, or sometimes even replying to comments on YouTube. Because that's kind of the instinct I have. I've done this my entire life. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I start writing. And if I wake up and there's 30 or 40 comments on a new video that I posted, well, it's a pleasure for me to read through the comments and, chat with people, reply to what people said, whatever comments they've made, if they've asked any questions. And it's kind of like a new way of keeping a journal in a way, like waking up and starting to write by replying to comments. Failing that, writing in my journal or writing to a friend, an email or a letter. I'm recording on the GoPro Hero 9 Black, by the way. This is it's not the first time I've used it. I've used it a lot over the last few days since it arrived in the mail. But I think this is the first time I've used it as my main GoPro for recording a video. So that's kind of exciting. I'll talk about the GoPro in quite a bit later on, I assume. Maybe not today, but in the next video. But this idea of comments kind of inspired me to go out onto the streets like this, because I noticed there was a couple of those spam comments. They showed up as notifications. Some guy, a fake comment from a bot saying, "Wow, I discovered this amazing new way to watch videos for free. Just go here." And it was on a video from 2 years ago. It's not like it's a new thing. It's a new strategy these spammers have. They leave these seemingly innocuous comments on old videos, and they even leave them in weird places. They don't insert them at the very top of the comments. They dig down deep into the comments and kind of hide them and hope they just sort of lie there unnoticed for years and years and years, I guess giving them a little bit of advertising. Anyway, it's a new weird thing that I have to deal with. So when I see these comments, I delete them. I track them down. Yeah, there's always a fake reply as well. The first comment is always, "Oh, I found this amazing way to hack my girlfriend's Instagram, and it really works." And then he gives the details, and it's obviously a scam, a company, a product they're trying to sell or something. And then there might be as many as 21 fake follow-up comments saying, "Oh, I tried it out and it worked great. It's amazing. You should try it too." And the whole thing is just a bunch of computers talking to each other, of course. There's no human beings actually leaving these comments. Anyway, I saw one of these comments this morning. It was actually on the video for the video I made about my train ride going from Yangon to Bagan a couple of years ago. I've noticed that a lot of unusual people are leaving comments on my Myanmar videos because of what's going on in Myanmar. People are thinking about Myanmar, paying attention to the situation there. So quite a few people are stumbling across my YouTube videos from Myanmar who never did before. Anyway, I went to delete these comments and I noticed a comment from a year ago that someone left. And this comment really puzzled me at the time. I never replied to it. The guy said, Very short comment, you know, kind of a typical YouTube comment. He said, typical American winger, and that's it. So he obviously didn't like the video, and he called me a typical American winger. And this can tell you a lot. You know, whoever this guy is, he's just one of these typical guys that roams around the internet insulting people at random. It's just what they do for fun. But he called me American, which is really weird because even the title of the channel is currently still The Cycling Canadian. It's pretty hard to miss. So you'd think if he watched the video, he'd know I was not American. So he got that wrong. And then he called me a winger. Winger. And a year ago I saw that comment and I thought, I have no idea what a winger is. What's a winger? And I assumed at the time he meant right winger or left winger, because if he thought I was American, that made some sense because Americans are often divided into left wing, right wing. Oh, you're just a right winger. You're just a left winger. And so I thought, okay, he called me an American winger. Is he saying I'm a typical American and that I'm all about politics? But I never talk about politics. So anyway, I just skipped the comment and moved on with my life. But this morning I happened to see it again when I was deleting the spam. And I realized what he meant. He didn't mean winger. He meant whinger. A whinger. He thought I was whinging in the video, complaining about everything. And that really made me laugh, because when you do get people that just sort of do all these drive-by insults on YouTube or the internet or anywhere, they're often not the most intelligent people. They get all the facts wrong. The punctuation is horrible, so you can never quite figure out what they're saying. And their spelling is terrible. So their goal is to insult me and call me a whinger, but because of his poor spelling, all he did was confuse me for a year. And I was like, why am I a winger? What the heck is a winger? Anyway, I actually started replying to this comment. I thought, well, I'm here, I'm on the page, you know, the phone is up and running, and I've got my keyboard right here. So I started typing out, you know, a typical reply that I would normally make to a comment like this. And so I was just sort of assuming the best is what I usually do with insulting comments. I take the high road and I just take them at their face value. I assume they're a good person deep down, and they're actually interested in the video. So hey, why not? I'll reply. And I started to write something like, well, in my videos, I think of them as describing, not whinging. Like I'm not actually complaining. Because in the video, I did talk a lot about this train. I mean, it's such an amazing train because it rattles and rolls. It makes so much crashing and banging noise you can barely even hear. And then it bounces up and down and shakes you from side to side. It's a well-known train for that reason. Everybody knows it. And when I took the train, one of the reasons I was looking forward to it was to have this experience of riding this classic train in Myanmar. So I'm on the train and I do talk about what's around me. I'm describing the situation. The train is banging and crashing. It really is rocking from side to side. It's a crazy experience. And if you've seen the video, you know that I got a private car and I was stuck in that private car for like 22 hours because it's not connected with the rest of the train. There's no doorway into the next car. You can't go anywhere. Once you climb into this train compartment, you're in there for 22 hours. You can't go anywhere else. And it was such a weird train. I'd never even seen anything like that before. So I'm describing all these things. I'm just describing what's around me. And a lot of people, they're people that kind of think of themselves as really tough. And you're never supposed to say anything negative about the country you're in. So they do roam around YouTube quite often, and if they find someone talking about something like that, they'll say, oh, you just complain all the time. You're a whinger. So that's what this guy meant. He was calling me a complainer, a whinger, not a winger. Anyway, long tangent. The point of that story was not that story. The point of that story is that here I was, first thing in the morning, when I'm at my best, when I feel the best, when my mind is working the best, I'm wasting my time chatting with this guy who I don't even know and who will likely never even see what I write. So why am I wasting my time doing that? So I started thinking about the best way to use the first hour or two of the day when I'm at my best. And I thought, well, you got all these things you want to talk about. You got all these thoughts in your head. You know, instead of spending 2 hours here in your room writing them all down in your journal or writing them in an email, you know, to a friend, why not go for a walk and bring your GoPro? Tell the stories verbally instead of writing them down. So that's a thought pattern that got me out onto the streets relatively early. And normally when I'm writing in my journal, what I start with is telling the story of whatever happened the previous day. So here in my early morning walk with my GoPro, maybe I'll do the same. Yeah, yesterday was kind of a strange day. It was a bit of a write-off for me because I talked about how I'm a morning person, but that can sometimes mean that I don't get any sleep at all. So I had so much trouble sleeping the night before, couldn't get any sleep, and I was wide awake at 3 in the morning, 3 a.m., and I just couldn't sleep at all. I was just lying in bed, driving myself crazy. So I thought, well, I might as well just get up. So I did. I got up and I showered and I made a cup of coffee in my room, thinking, I don't know, can't sleep, might as well do something. And then I never was able to go back to sleep again. So I'm down by the main market area, by the way. I don't have any reason to be here, but I'll walk through it just because some activity going on in the background for my new GoPro Hero 9 to capture. So I ended up awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, utterly exhausted. I couldn't think straight. I wasn't feeling very well. I had a headache. I had some digestive problems. It was just a bad day. And I knew the whole day was going to be a write-off. But some unusual things happened during the day, which is probably not the best time for these things to happen. But it's kind of a funny story. Someone in Australia, a viewer of my videos, contacted me a little while ago and offered to send me something in the mail, something that I'm hoping will be extremely useful. It's an amazing gift. I've been so lucky lately. I've gotten so many interesting and valuable and very useful packages in the mail lately. So another one was coming from Australia, and I've been tracking it online. He sent me a link to the tracking system. I guess he sent it through a company in Australia, and I guess that company handed it over to DHL. So I'm tracking it through DHL. Everything seems fine. According to his story, he marked it as secondhand, and it was old, and it was a gift. You mark packages that way so that customs doesn't end up seizing it and demanding duty and taxes and these sorts of things. But whatever happened, this package never arrived. It just got stuck. I got a notification saying shipment was being held awaiting payment. And again, I had no idea what that meant. It's like, okay, awaiting payment, but who needs to pay what to who and why? I mean, all it said was awaiting payment. And here I am in Mae Sot thinking, well, that's great. What does that mean exactly? So I let it go for a few days, actually, because I was hoping the situation would just resolve itself. I noticed that in the history of this package, when it went through Singapore, it was also held. So the package went through Singapore, and there was a notification that said, you know, shipment being held. It had been put on hold, and it has a big red line through it as if there's a problem. And then after one day, it just continued on its journey. So I thought, oh, maybe the same thing will happen here in Thailand. The shipment is on hold, and maybe after 1 day or 2 days, it will just be not on hold anymore, and we'll continue moving along. Because it still said arrival date was today. It said, okay, shipment is on hold and we're awaiting payment. Oh, by the way, expected arrival date is May 7th. So I was like, well, are you sending it or not? I don't know what any of this means. But it had been long enough, I figured, okay, I think I have to do something here. So I contacted the company. The only thing I could do was send an email to DHL, because I had no other information. I didn't know anyone in Thailand to contact. What am I going to do? Look up the number for Thailand Customs? Call the government? You know, hi, government of Thailand. I need to speak to someone, but I'm not sure who. I was pretty much stuck. Let's head in this direction. I'm passing so many incredible things. Here's one of those incredible things. Unloading a truck of fish. Of course, you always get scenes like this in the market area. I passed some interesting scenes too of, there was a group of about 50, I think, about 50 young and old monks. They all stopped at one business, and they were getting quite a large donation from the business, I guess. But there were actually a bunch of local people out with their phones taking video and pictures of this group of monks, and me going by with all my cameras. I thought, I really should take a picture of this too, or take some video, but I hate bothering people if it feels like it's an intrusion, so I didn't turn my GoPro around for that. I just kept walking and talking. So I sent an email to DHL, because that was the only thing I could do. I actually had a email address of some kind. And I got a reply almost instantly from a very helpful employee of DHL in Australia. And he said, okay, I'll look into this and get back to you. And he got back to me. And then I got back to him, and some emails went back and forth, and I kind of explained my situation. And I said things like, well, what I need to know is how much to pay and how to pay. I mean, I don't mind. I'm sure it's not going to be a huge amount of money. So all they need to tell me is how much I need to pay, and then what mechanism, bank deposit, credit card, like I need some information. So I left that with him, and then I got an email back from him saying he had contacted the relevant people in Thailand, and they said, well, he actually copy and pasted their email. And their email basically said, the customer needs to call this number and supply this reference number. And that's it. And me being a student of the complexities of the modern world, I thought this was a bit annoying. I mean, they took the time and effort to write me an email, which I love. I hate telephones. I hate speaking on the phone. I can't understand anyone. There's the language barrier. I can't hear them, and I have to write down all this. You're sending an email, put the information in the email. You're sending me an email anyway, so why not tell me how much I need to pay and how to pay it? Put that information in the email. That's the information I need. I'd also mentioned to the guy in Australia, well, this item, it is valuable, but it is secondhand and it is a gift. So it really shouldn't have any duty applied to it. And I kind of pushed him a little bit and hinted maybe you could tell them that, remind them of that, and then maybe they will waive the customs fee and just send the package, and I won't have to do anything. Like, I don't mind paying the fee, whatever it is, but it's just the days of hassle figuring all this out. So I thought it'd be kind of convenient if we could convince them just to let it go. So I did say that in my email, but in all the emails I got in return, this was never mentioned. So the guy from Australia, as helpful as he was, he never followed up on that. He never wrote to me. He never said, oh, I did tell them about how it's a gift and it's secondhand and it is written on the package, but they said this and they said that and this is what's going on. He didn't give me any information at all. He just said, here's what they said, call this number. And that's where I was. I have no idea where I am or where this road is going, but I thought I'd turn around just so I can head back into the sun, head back into town a little bit. So now I had a phone number here in Thailand I had to call. And my heart sank at the thought because, as I said, I'm horrible on the phone. And I didn't even have to try to call the number. I knew that nothing good was going to come of it. Everyone else in the world, maybe you can clear things up with phone calls. I can't. I've tried. Nothing. It just makes things worse and worse and worse. I make a phone call and nothing good ever comes of it. So in this case, I thought, well, to be honest, I don't even know how to make a phone call in Thailand. Like, none of my regular phones are really hooked up to the local phone system. So I have to figure that out to begin with, get phone credit. And you have to get phone credit that allows you to make phone calls, which I never do. I only get internet data packages. So I work all that out. I call the number, I figure out how to do that, get all the right codes, enter in to call this number in Bangkok. And of course, I get a recorded message in Thai that went on and on and on, telling me all kinds of things. I guess I had to press a button to get connected to the right person. I don't know. It was all in Thai, and I couldn't understand a word. So that was the end of my phone call. And then, of course, I had to get help. And I happened to be leaving my guest house about then. And my landlady was just sitting on the steps at the front. And we started chatting a little bit. And I thought, well, to be honest, my landlady may not be the best person to approach for help because she's very kind and very helpful and very gentle, but she's not the most organized person. And when information is flowing through her, it's just, no one ever knows what is going on. She makes things so complicated. And anyway, but I thought, well, I know her quite well, and I thought I'll ask her. So I pointed out to her, she speaks a little bit of English, that I'm waiting for this package. It got stuck in Bangkok and I need to call this number. Would you mind calling it for me and seeing if you can figure out what's going on? And she agreed. I gave her a piece of paper with the phone number and the reference number on it. So she calls the number, and oh boy, did we go down a rabbit hole after that. I can't tell you what happened really, because it got so complicated. So many phone calls, so many emails, so many this, that, and the other. And I heard her talking and talking and talking, and she was spelling out all kinds of words in English, and none of these words ended up being actual English words. I couldn't figure out what she was spelling out, why she was spelling it. She kept asking me for information, how to spell my name, but she only wanted my first name, not my last name. It's like, why this person at DHL would need to know my first name? That would have no relevance at all. So none of the information she was asking for or providing seemed connected in any way with paying duty for a package that was being held by customs. Like, none of it made any sense to me at all. But when the dust settled, she had actually, without even telling me, gone ahead and done a bank transfer from her account to DHL. And it turns out the fee was 769 baht, which is, I don't know, what's that, $25 US? Hello. So she paid the 770 baht from her bank account, transferred it to DHL, and that's what all that back and forth was about. She was trying to get, she needed an email address from them, she needed to sign into her online banking, she needed to do all kinds of things to make this happen. And then she sent them the payment, but then she showed me the screen on her phone, which gave all the details of this bank transfer. And she wanted me to take a picture of her phone, basically taking a screenshot of her phone by taking a picture of it, and then sending a copy of this by email to DHL. And this made no sense to me at all. It's like, okay, I can do that, but like, to who? I need an email address, and why am I sending it? And like, what information do I need to include with this email? Like, don't I need reference numbers and something to indicate what this is a picture of and what it's for? But I couldn't get any of this information from my landlady, so I was just guessing, and I was busy typing out this email saying who I am, what this is in reference to. This is I've attached a picture of a bank transfer related to package reference tracking number. I included all the information I could think of and then attached this photograph. I was just about to send it, and then my landlady piped out, "Oh, I already did it. You don't have to do it anymore." It turns out the only reason she was asking me to do it was she'd forgotten her password for her email account. She never sends emails, so she didn't know how to do it. So all the time I was writing this email out, she was trying to figure out how to get into her email account and remember how to send an email. So she finally figured it out. She sent the email, and then apparently everything was done. DHL sent receipts. Thank you very much for the payment. Everything is fine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She showed me all these replies from DHL. And that was, I don't know, a long time ago. And online, nothing has changed. Yeah, this was yesterday morning at about 9 o'clock in the morning, I guess. So it was about 24 hours ago at the beginning of the workday. So you kind of imagine all this effort had time to trickle through the system. But when I check online, nothing has changed. The package is still on hold and awaiting payment. Nothing has been updated. Yeah, so that was a good chunk of my morning was spent doing that. And I've realized lately that I have a bit of an unusual attitude when it comes to most things, in that I like to know what's going on. I want the story, right? So during this whole episode, I had been in contact with the manager from DHL in Australia, and I thought, well, they're probably concerned. They probably want to know what happened. How did the story end up? So now I'm writing emails back to them, telling them and giving them an update, saying, oh, payment has been made, and now this and this, because I assume they're going to be concerned. But the responses I got from them was largely, all right, okay, why are you telling me? I guess most people don't really need to know. You're taking care of that. That's your life, and yeah, glad it's working out. And thanks for telling me was the reply. Thanks for telling me is the reply I usually get when I give people these long stories. Well, thanks for telling me. But if the roles were reversed and I were trying to help someone else do something, I'd be dying to know the end of the story. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night until I knew, well, how did it end? Has it been fixed, resolved? What happened? Anyway, as I said, I was so sick and exhausted yesterday that this was not a good time to be trying to do anything like this. So, but they got done, and I'm hoping that today, tomorrow, the next day, this shipment will magically be updated and the status will say on its way as opposed to awaiting payment, because I do not want to dive back into this jungle of miscommunication to try and now explain to someone the payment has been made and who do you have the money, and what's going to happen next? And here's proof that payment, who knows? So we're just, I'm just waiting here at the mercy of the modern world. It just occurred to me that this whole story fits in well with that whinger whinging comment, because on a certain level, it sounds like I'm complaining, right? I'm complaining about this package coming from Australia and how it got stuck in customs, and they applied duty when they weren't supposed to, and all of the trouble I had figuring out how to pay the customs fee, and dealing with my landlady and phone calls. Yeah, I mean, you could say, boy, this guy likes to complain a lot about everything, doesn't he? But in my mind, I'm not complaining, I'm just telling a story. To me, it's amusing. It's just, I don't know, it's a story from my life, and I could lie to people and pretend. I could just pretend none of this happened, never tell anyone, and I could just wait until the package arrives and just say, hey, a new package arrived, isn't this amazing? Without telling the backstory of all of the adventures leading up to that point. But I don't know, this is what happens in life, right? And when you are overseas, things are a bit trickier, because I'm very aware of this issue of foreigners like me being in another country and then complaining endlessly about that country. And it's always from the point of view of how inefficient everything is and how nothing works, and as if you are some sort of a millionaire Canadian, and then you go to a country where nothing works and you complain about everything. And that's not me in any way. And I'm very sensitive to that issue. But I am a foreigner overseas, and I don't speak the local language, and I don't know how things work here. So anything I try to do will come with an adventure story. I mean, today, if I wanted to take a bus to another town, I can't just go to the bus station, get on the bus, and go to that town. There's going to be an adventure involved, because I can't communicate with people. Who knows, just to tell them where I want to go and how to buy a ticket and when the bus leaves. Hey there. I've run into I've run into a lot of dogs on this walk. So far, they're leaving me alone, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, this story of this package from Australia and DHL, everything I've said happened, and I'm not whinging about it. That's not my attitude anyway. I'm just telling it as a funny story of what happened yesterday. And normally this story would end up in my journal at length, and I wouldn't be telling it to you, perhaps. It appears that none of my usual coffee haunts are open yet. But just ahead of me, there is the fancy Teak Hotel. I've only been there once. I went in there for a cup of coffee one time just to look at the place. And yeah, it's just up ahead. And being a fancy hotel, they might open up their restaurant pretty early, because their guests would wake up early in the morning, want to hit the road, and they often have breakfast available to their guests. So maybe at 7 o'clock in the morning, their coffee shop is open. 7-Eleven, of course, there is always open. But none of the 7-Elevens here have any seating. Well, I'm at the Rosewood Cafe right behind me, which I believe is connected to the Teak Hotel, the fancy hotel over there. And if my eyes are all kind of wonky right now, it's because I've got the screen on the GoPro Hero 9, and I'm just getting used to having this front-facing screen, and so I am looking at the screen quite a bit to see what's going on, and I love it. I absolutely love having that screen, but it can be distracting too. Anyway, I'm gonna go see if they're open. Hallelujah, look at that. Restaurant opening hours. That's what I thought, 7 until 9 p.m. So they are open earlier just because they're part of a hotel. And I think I will I could sit outside. Maybe I'll try inside first because I could use some air conditioning. I'm feeling a bit hot. Yeah, it's a very nice place. Kind of an upper class kind of hotel. Perhaps the most expensive one in Mae Sot. I'm not sure about that. But it is a kind of a luxury hotel as far as Mae Sot goes. There it is there. And it's right downtown as well. I have a bit of a camera inception thing going on right now because the learning curve continues. Yeah, it's no joke adding a new camera to your life. This is the GoPro Hero 9 Black right here. And I've had to adjust my camera life considerably to start using this camera. And I just came in here to sit down and I'm enjoying my cup of coffee. And I thought I could take advantage of that to change the battery because the battery was getting low. But of course, by instinct, I brought 1 million batteries for the GoPro Hero 7 Black, which, by the way, I also have operating. The audio is being recorded by this camera. The video is being recorded by the LX10 Panasonic. But I like the audio from the Rode the Rode Wireless Go better. So audio here, video there. Anyway, I brought 1 million batteries for the Hero 7 Black, and I forgot to bring the extra battery for the GoPro Hero 9. So, plus I had to do a complete rebuild of all of my carrying systems for various reasons I won't go into. So this is what I have going now with the Hero 9 Black. So they are open here at the Rosewood, but indoors they don't have the air conditioning running yet because there's nobody here. I'm the only one here. And I could sit inside. They turned all the lights on for me, but it was so hot in there and kind of stuffy. So with no air conditioning, I thought I might as well sit outside. And I got a hot cappuccino and a glass of ice water. Really needed that. And the last time I was here, the first and last time, the only time I was here before, I made the same comment I'm about to make right now. I think what they charge for a cappuccino is higher than other places, but man, you really do get what you pay for sometimes in life. Not always, but sometimes. And in this case, this is the best tasting coffee I've had in weeks. It really is. That is coffee flavor. I mean, it is, yeah. They didn't mess around when it came to how much coffee to use, the type of coffee to use, and then the foamy, chocolatey coffee goodness on top. That is so good. Let's see if I can get a picture of it with my Panasonic. I've kind of ruined the beautiful pattern, you know, that was on the top of the coffee, but there it is there, my hot cappuccino. It is so tasty. As I said, I don't even know what it cost, but my memory is that they charge more here than at any other coffee shop. And since I'm here, I can do a little bit of a show and tell for the GoPro Hero 9 Black. The thing is, and let me grab my Hero 9 Black to demonstrate this. And the thing about this Hero 9, one of the really cool things about it is you don't really need a case for it at all anymore. With the Hero 7 Black, the camera body has no mounts built into it. So even to mount it on a tripod or a grip, you have to put it in a case. You have no choice. The Hero 7 always has to go in a case. But the Hero 9 Black on the bottom has these little finger mounts built into the camera itself. So you can pull those fingers out, and there you have your typical GoPro finger mount. So for this camera, you don't need a case. And yet, as you can see, I have a case. And you might be wondering, Doug, why are you such a dummy? You don't need a case. You've got these beautiful fingers, and yet you're using a case. Do you just love gear? Is that your problem? No, the issue is that like all GoPros, the Hero 9 Black doesn't have a microphone input. There's no way to plug in a microphone. And with the Hero 9 Black, you can fix that problem two ways. You can buy the GoPro Media Mod, which is a very lightweight case that wraps thinly all the way around the outside edge. And the Media Mod gives you a microphone jack. I don't have a Media Mod right now. It costs about $100, I think. I may eventually buy one, but at the moment I thought I'd try to live without one. I have enough gear, you know, I don't really need to add more gear to my life right now. And the other alternative is to use the GoPro microphone adapter. And to demonstrate that, I have to switch over to my Hero 7 Black. So here is my Hero 7 Black. You can see the flashing tally light on the front and the Rode Wireless Go on the top, which tells you that it is recording both video and audio right now. And the reason I can record audio is because inside this compartment on the bottom, I have the GoPro mic adapter. And this mic adapter plugs into the GoPro, and then your microphone plugs into the mic adapter. So I can do the same thing with the GoPro Hero 9 Black, but the Hero 9 Black has a different shape from the Hero 7 Black. It's bigger, quite a bit taller and thicker, so it doesn't fit inside this case. So this case for the Hero 7 Black is the Ulanzi V2 cage, and the V2 is designed specifically to use the GoPro mic adapter. And just yesterday, this arrived in the mail. I ordered this, and this is the Ulanzi G9 4 case, which is the same as that case for the Hero 7, except it's designed for the Hero 9, and it has this compartment on the bottom where you put the GoPro mic adapter. So this is now the cage that I'm using for the Hero 9. And I, to be honest, I've raved about this company in the past, and I continue to rave about them, Ulanzi. This is my kind of company because they think of everything. They really do. They take care of all the details. I only wish the people at GoPro put as much thought into their products as Ulanzi puts into their products. Seriously. Here is the box for this magical G9 4 from Ulanzi. As I said, it's specially designed for the GoPro Hero 9. And Ulanzi, the company, they make two versions of this. They make a metal cage, which is in its way much better than this one. This one is the plastic cage, as you can see. And the metal one is very modular. All of these items that are on the metal one can be removed. There's screws holding it all together. So you could remove the finger mounts, you could remove the battery, the mic adapter compartment, you can attach things, and so that's very, very handy. But the metal one, being metal, is extremely heavy, and it ends up, I think, more than doubling the weight of your GoPro. So I find that to be a huge disadvantage. Kind of ruins the whole idea of having a GoPro, to be honest. So I went with the plastic one, and it has some unique features. So it has the finger mounts. I prefer the one with the tripod mount, to be honest, built into it, but I wasn't able to find the tripod mount version, so I have the GoPro finger one. This is the compartment for the mic adapter, and this ring is actually a removable filter ring. So it's a 52 millimeter threaded filter holder. So you could put any kind of a filter on your GoPro, polarizing filter, neutral density filter, anything you want. Or you can, this actually just clips right off. I don't have mine attached right now because it interferes with the screen on the front. It covers up a little bit of the front screen. So I removed it for that reason. And here it has 2 cold shoe mounts, one on the top, one on the side. And this cold shoe mount is raised up a little bit, which is a very ingenious design because some microphones have a furry, what they call a dead cat for wind. And sometimes this furry covering can bend down and get into the shot. And having this cold shoe raised up higher, it lifts the microphone up and gets it out of the way of the field of view. So that's very handy. But if you don't need this, you can remove it. This whole section here pops right off, and then you have just one cold shoe mount on the top. So that's kind of what I mean about Ulanzi, how they think about things. They gave 2 cold shoe mounts. GoPro doesn't give you any at all. They give you 0 cold shoe mounts on their regular GoPro cage. Ulanzi gives you 2 of them, and it's removable. They give you this filter ring. They give you all kinds of things. I mean, even providing this mic adapter compartment at the bottom, GoPro itself doesn't offer anything like this. They've never made a cage for their own product that can accommodate their own microphone adapter, which is kind of crazy. But luckily, Ulanzi stepped up and made one for us. So this is what it looks like on the box. Here it is in real life. As I said, the finger mounts on the bottom, the mic adapter compartment, and up here at the top are the cold shoe mounts, and these come right off if you don't need them. And then you have one cold shoe mount at the top. Extremely light, has no weight to it at all. I can barely even feel it in my hands. So that's why I really like this one. And let's continue. To put your GoPro in is kind of easy. It has this little switch at the top, slide it, and then the whole back of it opens up like that. And on the side, it has another door that covers up the battery compartment, and where the memory card goes has another switch on it. So you pull that over to the side, that pops open, and now your Hero 9 Black just slides in there. That clicks into place. This clicks into place, and then it has an opening here, and that is where you plug in your microphone into the connector on the GoPro. So there you are. And what I really like about this one compared to the old one for the Hero 7 Black is that this opening is really large. I'll show you the difference. This is the Ulanzi cage for the Hero 7 Black. As you can see, it looks similar. Get it nicely in the light. Looks very similar. Larger opening at the front because the Hero 9 has a larger screen, and a much larger opening on the back because the GoPro Hero 9 is larger. But they also reduced the width of the edges, and that is kind of a design choice. On this one, for the GoPro Hero 7, the way you open it is by sliding out this whole door. And that is a very good design. It holds the GoPro in place securely all the way around the edge, and it's very simple and clean. Just clicks into place, and then you just pull it free. I really like that design. But if you notice how wide the edges are, and the GoPro is indented a little bit. It's actually, you can see there's quite a wide gap between the edge and the screen. So it's actually really hard to get your finger in here to manipulate the screen. And that's probably the biggest problem with this one for the Hero 7 Black. For the Hero 9 version, they have this different system where you just have this door that opens up. So you can see how thin it is. And it isn't quite as firm around the edges. This actually kind of moves a little bit because it only clicks into place on one point instead of all the way around the edges. But as a trade-off, you get access to the entire GoPro screen, and it's not indented at all. So you can actually get your finger onto the screen of the Hero 9 very, very easily. And this door on the other side is very convenient because when it pops open, it gives you access to the battery compartment, so you can remove your battery without removing the GoPro from the cage. With this one, for the Hero 7 Black, in order to change the battery or the memory card, you have to remove the GoPro completely from the cage. There's no other way to do it. But with this new design, you don't have to remove the GoPro from the cage. You just open this door, battery comes out, memory card comes out. Once you're done, just close the door, and you never had to remove the GoPro from the cage. This G9 IV from Ulanzi is not 100% perfect. There are little things about it that I could talk about, but to be honest, it really would just be nitpicking at this point, so I won't even bother. I'm just a huge fan of this cage, and I'm very grateful that Ulanzi makes products like these, because they fill a gap in GoPro's product line, because GoPro makes nothing like this for their own products. And eventually I might end up buying the GoPro 9 Media Mod, where I can plug a microphone in directly, and then I don't have to use a cage like this. But I don't know. It depends on a variety of factors. For now, I'm pretty content using this. There it is. This is how I'm carrying around my Hero 9 Black. And to finish off my mounting system, I have this G9 IV Ulanzi cage mounted onto a GoPro buckle mount, because I have to. And then the buckle mount clicks into the GoPro Jaws Flex clamp. And here is the base of the Jaws Flex clamp, and that just locks into place. And there you have it. The Hero 9 Black mounted on the Jaws Flex clamp. And of course, as I've talked about many times in the past, the advantage to this for me is that using the Jaws, I can clamp the GoPro to a table like this, and then I can pick it up and use it like that for a selfie shot, or turn it around like this, sort of a steady cam shot, you know, selfie, and then you can just clamp it to the side of the table again. Seems to be a very, the most versatile method I've found for using my GoPro. I ordered a second cappuccino, by the way, and that is what it looks like when it arrives. And trust me, it is as delicious as it looks. Time to sample my second cappuccino. Yeah, I'd call that a perfect cappuccino. Perfect flavor, hot, really nice. Oh. Speaking of YouTube comments from earlier, I remember there was another comment not that long ago. I think I replied to it. I reply to as many comments as I can. Someone said that in the UK, 51% of young people that they interviewed, or that they did a survey, and they said that ordering a hot cappuccino is a sign that you're elderly or something like that. I think it's a sign that I just love good coffee. Whew, it strikes me, by the way, just doing this right now without any planning at all, that showcasing a product on a camera, like setting up a camera and then talking about a camera or a camera accessory and focusing on it and talking about it, it's really hard to do. To do it well, you really have to have the right equipment, the right studio setting, the lighting, the tripods, the microphones. You have to have all that stuff, and you really have to plan out your video. I mean, to do it properly. You have to think about what you're going to say, what you're going to show, write it out like a script, and then make it like a movie, shot for shot. I mean, doing what I just did, just sort of fumbling around, drinking coffee, drinking water at the same time, while trying to show things, the camera going in and out of focus, batteries losing power, things not being bright enough, trying to tilt the object so you get enough light on it, trying to show what you're trying to show. It's hopeless. It's the worst way to do that. But that's what I did. To do this well, I should have done a lot more planning. But yesterday I watched a video on YouTube talking about this cage, like doing a professional, in-depth review of this cage. And it's an example of what I'm talking about, how it should be done. And I'll leave a link in the description, assuming I include this in the video that I post. I'll include a link to this guy's video review of this product, and he does an amazing job. Precise, professional, perfect lighting, perfect angles, perfect focus, and he goes over all the details of this product. There isn't a lot of personality in his review. He kind of does a dry description of all the features, and he may not take it to the very next step of how it works in the real world, perhaps, for him. But setting that aside, he did such a great job with his review. So if you really want to know about this product, click on that link and watch a professional do a good review of this product. Just leaving from the Rosewood Cafe, part of the Teak Hotel. My morning stroll is over, heading back to the guest house now. As I suspected, the cappuccinos there, as tasty as they are, come with a price tag. So they're 80 baht each. So I had 2 of them. So it was 160 baht just for morning coffee, which anyone who lives here in Thailand knows that's a pretty expensive little coffee session. I think a normal price here is like 40 baht, 50 baht for a cappuccino. Theirs is kind of double the normal price. But I don't know, maybe even twice as tasty. And it's a good cappuccino. And of course, amazing service. The man there speaks a very good English. And he was willing to chat with me a little bit and listen to me babble about cameras to an extent, that kind of thing. So you get good service. And speaking of cameras, I'm still deep in camera inception mode, because not only did I forget to bring extra batteries for the GoPro Hero 9 Black, because I'm not used to that camera yet, I also forgot to bring extra batteries for the Panasonic LX10. So 2 new cameras in my life, and I don't have batteries for either one. So I'm finishing this morning stroll back on my trusty Hero 7 Black, which works amazingly well. And luckily I have so many adapters in my life that no matter what you throw at me, no matter what camera, what grip, what tripod, I've got an adapter somewhere that can attach one to the other. I have a Coca-Cola truck blocking my path at 7-Eleven. There we go. So yeah, I really enjoyed this morning stroll. All of those stories I just told would normally have ended up in an email or my journal, and now they're captured on video. Yeah, kind of like that. Boy, walking is always a bit of a challenge here. I couldn't get around that truck because he's parked way out into the street. And then you have to sort of find your way along here. Got to zigzag in and out of all the scooters and everything. Because, as is typical in this part of the world, there aren't any actual sidewalks. Pedestrians. We pedestrians, we who like to walk, are sort of forgotten by the city planners. So, yeah, the rest of today should be interesting because tonight I'm going to the Passport restaurant, part of the Hospitality Training Center. I went there for 2 meals in the past. One of them, my first visit there, I shot a video about it. And it's a college here, a hospitality training center. And they train people in all the aspects of food preparation and service, anything to do with hotels, restaurants, cafes, service. And then their students are put to the test on a couple of nights a month where they prepare 3 or 4 course meals, like fancy several course dinners with cocktails and a nice setting. And they invite people to come and enjoy one of these meals. And I did that once before. And then I'm being very spoiled here in Mae Sot because another viewer of my videos, another mystery benefactor, though I know who it is, though you don't, and thank you to this mystery benefactor, also from Malaysia, I'm fairly certain, contacted the Passport and left payment for a couple of coupons that allow me to have 2 meals there, 2 complete 3 or 4 course dinners with a cocktail. So the Passport has been closed for a while, but it's open again, and tonight is their first night being open, May 7th, Friday, May 7th, and they are serving a nice meal there, and I plan to go there tonight and enjoy one of these meals and cash in one of my Passport dinner coupons. So that is what is going to happen for the rest of today. I'm looking forward to that very much. Another story, by the way, since I'm passing, I want to show you something. Right here, these wooden frames, I guess they were used to deliver something. I don't know, maybe widescreen TVs or some furniture, some sort of protection for some furniture. These have been here for months, maybe a year. I can't even remember when they showed up. They've been here forever. But the other day, I walked by that pile of wood, and I was so startled, just out of the corner of my eye, out of my left eye, I spotted a drama. I spotted a frog running for its life, hopping for its life, and right behind it, a snake. And that snake was moving really fast, like chasing this frog. It really was a surprise. But the funny thing is that the entire time, no thank you, the snake would only chase the frog when it was moving. So as soon as the frog stopped hopping, the snake would stop. Even though this was its chance to get it, it would just wait. And as soon as the frog started hopping, the snake would start to chase it again. And they chased each other all up and down this street. And then all these birds started flying in. These birds came down. They also wanted to eat the frog. So these birds surrounded the frog. In front of it, the snake was behind it. This poor frog. And he eventually managed to jump through the birds and then escape into the brush. And he got away from both the snakes and the birds. So that was kind of interesting to see. I was just checking the porch area, because this is where, if any package arrives from me, this is sort of where the package ends up. It's just sort of put here, and then all the people staying at the guest house can come rummage around this area and look for their packages and look at the address label. Though if it's a really valuable package, they'll put it up there at the top and hold it for me. But nothing has arrived yet this morning, though 2 packages are on their way. I mentioned the one coming from Australia that was held by customs, and we've paid the fee, and it should be released. As I said yesterday, or this morning I checked, and it hadn't been released yet, despite the payment, but maybe it's happened by now. And Armando in New York, he also has sent me something that he says I can use with my phone. Very curious about what that can be. I cannot figure it out. And I've been tracking it, and it is in Thailand as well. It actually arrived in Bangkok 2 days ago, and has been on its way to Mae Sot ever since, but it hasn't shown up yet. So 2 packages showing up. To finish all my stories, I was saying that I have a bit of a bottleneck in terms of copying files, how slow it is. So I'm actually online looking for a brand new memory card reader that is definitely USB 3.0 compatible. And maybe that will make the copying of files faster. Because I think USB 3.0 is like 5 or 10 times faster than USB 2.0. So I might order one of those today from Lazada, but it's hard to read all the details and make sure I get the right one. But that might be my project for today. And then later in the day, heading to the Passport for dinner. So I have to rest up for that. As I started off saying at the beginning of this video, I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person. So by the time I get to the Passport at 7 o'clock tonight, no matter what I do, I'm going to be exhausted. So it's kind of hard for me to enjoy anything at night. But I think this meal should be pretty extraordinary. So I'll bring my cameras along after charging up all the batteries, and I'll take some video of my Passport dinner gourmet experience tonight. And I guess that will be the next video, and I'll see you in that video at the Passport.